Welcome to the third session of Dreamforce. Maybe you've had three. My name is Karen Jameson, Melissa Hansen, and Angela Mahoney, and we're here to talk about RAD Women, which is a program we run. But before we start, please make your purchasing decisions based on what's currently available in the platform.
All right, so we wanted to start with short introductions and how we got involved in RAD, and then we'll tell you a little bit about it. I've been on the platform for about 10 years, and over those years, I had a bit of a struggle learning how to develop. It was a professional goal of mine at a company I worked at about 10 years ago, learn Apex. This is after I asked the question in a meeting, what's the difference between Visualforce and Apex? And my boss said, you're not supposed to ask that question in front of our business users. It was difficult to start back then without Trailhead. That did not exist. So you had to turn to the people that you knew. My mentor is standing, I don't know where he went. I was sitting back there. I was fortunate enough to have a mentor to get me started and help me answer some of the questions that I couldn't answer when I had 80 tabs open. Other people had similar experiences, and as we started talking about our shared experiences, we decided, well, let's see what we can do to help other women that are in the scenario that we were in get past that hurdle of going from the admin side to the developer side.
And I work for Trailhead. I'm the lead of the content engineering team. But before that, I was a struggling admin trying to learn how to code on the platform and getting really frustrated by the developer content because it was like this language I had no idea what it was. And it was very frustrating to me. And I started getting a little cranky, a little angry, because I felt like there was this wall, and it's like I was supposed to just bash through this wall by myself, and I couldn't do it by myself. So I teamed up with Angela, and we wanted to start a program that would provide community along with learning and support learners and women like us who were really smart, but we just didn't get it.
And I'm Melissa Hansen. I'm currently a senior developer at a nonprofit called Stand for Children. But I took a very non-traditional technical path, as did these ladies and a lot of others. Started out doing sort of more database administration and nonprofit fundraising systems. And then when I started working with Salesforce, I saw that there was this platform where I could really start to plug in, and maybe this was my chance to start learning how to code, but it's really hard to have the confidence to take that first step. I was lucky enough to be at an organization that had a lot of technology needs, and so there was space for me to grow, and I had a couple of really fantastic mentors, one of whom is right back there. And that was really the key, having somebody say, you can do this, like I've seen what you can do as an admin, and this is totally within reach for you. All you need is somebody to maybe get you started. And there's a lot of resources out there, but that key first step of coding is not magic, it is something you can learn, and you just need somebody to help you get on that path. So when these ladies came to me and said, do you want to be a coach? Because I started out as a coach for the first session, I was like, yes. The whole setup that Kieran's going to talk about with mentor coaches, I was like, that is the missing link for so many women who want to get started. So if I can be a part of giving that to women who don't have it in their workplace, I'm in.
Right. So when we really kicked off this program initially, one thing that was important to us is there were materials out there. I mean, back in the day, there was Apex and 10 minutes a day or something like that. And Trailhead came along, and they're great tools. What we thought was lacking was the ability to have a mentor. Not everybody is in a scenario where you've got another person that you can ask what you think is a dumb question 5 or 6 or 7 times, because there are some that I would ask repeatedly. I'm like, yeah, I still didn't get it. So what was important to us was to be able to put together a program that provided a collaborative and supportive environment of people to help us women, guide women on our ways, on our programmatic journeys. So our mission is very heavily involved around helping women admins in a supportive, collaborative environment to learn to program on the Salesforce platform.
So how do we do this? We really focus on our learners and what their story is. We know that Salesforce admins have a huge amount of experience on the platform. They know how to do business requirements. They're really invested in their users. So they're in a really good place to learn to code. They're super smart people. Most of them who come to the program have tried to learn to code maybe 3, maybe 4 times and have just hit this brick wall. And we didn't want to be another brick wall. So we also wanted to provide a really safe space for people to be able to ask questions and not get judged for what the questions, that they ask. So what we do is we set really clear learning commitments and agreements. We are very clear that this is a 5 to 7 hour a week commitment. You need to turn up to every class. We're really clear about choosing learners that are at the right stage. We don't want to have people who are so new to the platform that they don't understand you need to understand the platform before you start to code, is our method. And we don't want people who have a vast amount of programming experience, but they just don't know how to code on the platform, because there are other resources for that. We're looking for women in a particular niche. We require active participation, because that's how you learn. You don't learn by just looking at something. You have to get in there. You have to ask the questions. So we keep the classes really small. We have built-in community, so that when you go through the class, you have the community of not only your fellow learners, but also the other 2 mentor coaches who are available, and the larger RAD Women community. So we build that in. We have very small classes, so groups. There are 8 to 10 learners, more on the 8 side. Sometimes we sneak in a couple if we can do it. And we really promote that it's about progress, not perfection. We don't expect anyone to get everything right. I mean, that would be miraculous, and probably this isn't the right course for you. So we really, really promote that it's time to just practice and practice and practice, and learn and fail and learn and fail and learn. You know, that's just part of it. We support learners outside the classroom. We provide office hours. We provide a community that they can go into. And we pair learners in their final project so that they can build something together with somebody. And that hopefully then they take those relationships outside past RAD Women. So we have one course right now that we've done 6 times. We're about to start the 7th time. And these are the learning objectives. You'll be able to describe what triggers are and how they're structured. You'll be able to read low to medium complexity code. So you'll be able to go into your org and say, okay, I'm going to look at this trigger and I'm going to figure out what it's doing. You'll be able to write SOCL and DML statements. So that's how to get data in and out of your org. And you'll be able to understand why bulkification is important, and to be able to recognize when it's happening and when it's not. You'll be able to have access to all of the resources. You'll have the ability to know where this developer documentation is, how to access it, and what to do with it. And you'll be able to team with another learner to complete a final project, which is going to make you feel, it's going to probably make you cry, but it'll also make you feel amazing when you get there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you'll turn up to the presentation and say, here's what I've done, here's where I got stuck, you know, and there'll be a discussion. And that is exactly what it's like being a coder. A coder is not about getting it right.
So for part 2, we've been talking about adding on another offering. We always knew that we wanted to build on this program and be able to provide a next step after they've gone through the initial 10-week course. And we had been thinking in terms of like an intermediate course. But there were a couple issues that came up that made us kind of walk that back a little bit. One was that a lot of the feedback from learners was that I just want more time. I want more practice. I want to write, hundreds of SOCL queries before I feel like it's really internalized, because a 10-week course is great and you get a lot of exposure, but when it's done, it's really easy to not touch it again and to let those skills go stale. So they wanted a chance to, go a little bit deeper with the things they learned in part 1, but get a chance to really develop that muscle memory, which is, what you need to have a solid foundation and to build the confidence you need. So that's what we're doing. We're piloting a round 2 in this next cohort so that we can get some feedback. We like to always do a pilot and figure out what's working, what's not working, so we can build on that. We're going to cover a lot of the same concepts that Kieran just talked about. We're just going to go deeper. We're going to do more advanced object-oriented programming, bulk patterns, more advanced SOCL, but really the same kinds of things. We'll go deeper into unit testing. And then the other thing was Lightning, because a lot of learners were like, are we going to learn Lightning? Like, well, 10 weeks, part 2, that seems a little ambitious, but we know it's important. So what we're going to do is introduce the concepts of front end and back end, and what is Model View Controller, what is Visual Force, and what is the Lightning platform and Lightning component development, just to set the stage for that. And then future facing, we're looking at having more modular specific offerings. So things like the Lightning framework, APIs and integrations, maybe a course on advanced testing and mock interfaces. So depending on where the learner wants to go in their individual journey, they'll be able to pick those things in a more modular way. So that's something I'm really excited about looking forward.
All right, so what have we done in the last 4 years since we started this? As Kieran mentioned, we're starting our 7th cohort after Dreamforce, which is really exciting. We'll have over 100 women involved in that. Since we started, we've had over 230 women complete the course, which means they've completed their final project. I think it's just over 90% of our learners will complete the final project. We think that's a pretty good completion rate. Okay? We want this to be the course that sticks and really gets you on your programmatic journey. We've had just under 50 coaches. We're always looking for coaches, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And we've also had 4 of our learners progress enough in their development careers that they have come back to coach with us, sometimes as junior coaches and sometimes as senior coaches, and I think we'll continue to see more of that. This is all volunteer. There's no cost for this. We don't pay our volunteer coaches. To date, they've dedicated over 2,200 hours of coaching and mentoring time. So it's like, yeah, our coaches are incredible, incredible people. Oh, actually, if you can go back, one thing. What we don't measure very well, but what comes up frequently in our surveys is, yes, you're going to learn something about programming, but confidence is a word that pops up when we ask, how did the course go? What difference did it make? It gives our graduates confidence in their programming abilities, confidence in talking with other developers on their team, and just general confidence in understanding what's going on in their orgs. So it's a huge, huge impulse that we can't put a number on, but it's one of the most important things that we do. So if you're interested in getting involved, we're always looking for coaches. I'm going to start with that because we have a bottleneck of women that we can have on our courses, and there's a wait list. I'm the coach lead. I would love to talk with anybody that is interested in coaching or knows somebody that might make a good coach. This is the core of our program. Our coaches mentor and support learners. We wrote our own curriculum, so you don't have to go in and design what you want to do. It's all there for you, and we'll walk you through how to do it and deliver it. You can be junior level. You don't have to know everything about Apex, and in fact, it's kind of nice that you don't. So we pair junior coaches and more seasoned coaches, because sometimes if you've only been programming for a year or 2 or 3, you remember the struggles. You might not say, oh, it's easy, watch this, because it's not necessarily easy. So we think it provides a really good balance for our learners to hear things in 2 different ways, senior and like, okay, let me break it down again and again. And our coaches, over the years, give approximately 3 hours per week. So we think it's something that's sustainable. We don't want to bring coaches out. And I think almost every coach has come back to coach more than 1 session, because what they get out of it is helping grow the community. They learn other ways to describe things. And then they also just meet other cool people that are doing what they're doing and learn different ways to say things. So if you're interested, or if you know somebody, or if you want to be a learner, there are a couple ways to get in touch with us. We have a website called radwomen.org that has information on both our next set of sessions as well as coaching. You can tweet us or DM Rad Women Code, or if you're interested in coaching, I'm iCloud Sales or iCloud SF. So tweet me, message me, or email me. Make sure I spelled it correctly. I would love to hear from you. I think that's what we've got.
So we wanted to open it up to see if anybody had any questions about the program.
Oh, good question.
So this question is, where are the sessions held? They're all virtual. So we have people, in the next session, we have people in England and New Zealand. Yay, go New Zealand. And we have people all over North America. It's as many coaches as we can get in those time zones. That's what we do. So it's all virtual.
Yeah.
Oh, good call. So where do you sign up if you want to be part of the session? So go to radwomen.org. We have in the Trailblazer community, we have a public group, and that's what we do, a lot of announcements through that. We also do announcements through Twitter. There's a compulsory information session before each session so that we can really make sure that you are set up for success. If you're going to dive into this, we want to make sure that you have the right amount of time, that you have at the right level. So we require 2 years of admin experience before you can enter the program. And then we have a wait list, so if you don't make it in the first time, then we try really hard to get you in the next time. Other questions?
Does certification cover any of that time? Like, I'm not going in 2 years certified, so would that qualify?
That's a great question. So the question is, if you are certified, do we waive the 2 years? And we generally don't. However, because we want to make sure that you have time and practice in the platform, because certification is great, and we understand that you have the breadth of knowledge, but you need to be able to use it. So that's why we have the 2-year thing. But you can always contact me. I run the webinars. I'm the learner lead, so you can always talk to me and we can talk about it. But and really, we do that so that you're set up for success.
Is the October one already closed out?
Yeah, the question is, can you get into the October one? Unfortunately, that's closed out. We still have a wait list of people who are trying to get in. But we hold it twice. We hold the part 1 twice a year, and so the next one will be in Q1. I expect to have the introduction webinar probably in November, December. We'll figure it out and we'll post.
But follow us on Twitter or the website, because we'll post that
Yeah.
information there and keep people up to date.
Okay, so we have time for one last question, if anybody. Yeah. Oh, what's our date
frame
for
for
launching the Lightning course?
So we're just piloting our part 2 for, to tag on to the beginner side. So that is probably at least a year out.
Yeah. I mean, we all have very full-on jobs. So we're doing this in between, and it's a real passion project for us. And we're trying. We're so excited about part 2 because we've been talking about it for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And, fingers crossed it all goes well. Yeah. And thank you to anybody out there who's a RAD coach. Thank you so much for volunteering your time. Really, really appreciate it. I see a few RAD coaches there.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's up for us. But if you want to talk to us, we'll be over there afterwards, and we'd be happy to talk to you about RAD. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.